If anybody walks past on the path just to my left, they're going to be wondering why the hell that guy appears to be talking to a tree. But anyway, it's better if I put the phone down. Hello, it's Brian of London here. I'm out on one of my walks. The coffee place probably is open today. I don't know. I haven't checked. I'm in a different area. I'm not in my usual forest. It's Brian of London. Hey, let's jump straight in. President Trump and the High Colleen. Good to see you. Glad you caught this one. President Trump and his executive order last night, and then again Twitter this morning is firing shots at him again and putting notes on his tweets saying that he's violating their terms and conditions and being violent, and so they're going to have to put warnings on his tweets. Meanwhile, of course, the Ayatollah's in Iran, and he can basically call for genocide of Israel, and that's not an issue. No fact check for you. And also let's throw in Laura Loomer's case, which my friend Andrew wrote a very interesting piece, which I will link to yesterday, because it's all linked together. Laura Loomer sued Google, Facebook, Twitter, and Apple in this case for her mass deplatforming. And, Andrew analysed her case, and he analysed the judgment on it. And basically, she was trying under the Sherman Act, which is the US antitrust regulations, but it wasn't a strong case. And the other point that Andrew made in his legal review was that even if someone like Laura Loomer or Alex Jones were to win one of these, or Prager University were to win one of these cases against these tech giants, what's the most they could win? The absolute most. Even with America's crazy punitive damage system, $100 million. I mean, that would be like insane, but it still would not damage any of these companies. That's loose change for all of them. Even Twitter can afford that. So then the president came with his executive order, which I read last night, and it actually seems to contain a sort of a chink. And I jumped on Telegram with Tommy last night and told him that he probably needs to call up Alex Jones, because I would think that Alex Jones's people, or maybe Ezra Levant and Rebel, will be looking hard at that executive order. And in 30 to 60 days, there might well be some causes of action that one can take against Facebook and Twitter for the unfair way in which people were deplatformed. So, for example, in Tommy's case, his page was taken away, and the Facebook literally told provable lies to the media. They said that Tommy had called for the beheading of Muslims. Now, his page was the most engaged Facebook page in the UK. There is no chance on earth that Tommy Robinson or any of his surrogates or anybody who had access to his page would ever have called for the beheading of Muslims without it being screenshotted. And Facebook cannot provide a screenshot of it. And even if he'd have said it, it would have been on the front cover of the Daily Mail, the Mirror, the Sun. Every British newspaper would have featured that story within 20 minutes. The Independent, dear old Lizzie Dearden, would have like wet herself trying to get that tweet onto the cover of her newspaper, or blog as it's now known. So the charge that Facebook laid on the court of public opinion while deleting his page was clearly false. And that circumstance is covered in Trump's executive order, which is basically saying you can't deplatform people without a good reason, without presenting evidence, and without a system whereby they can appeal it. How that's going to translate into direct changes, and whether the FCC and whatever other three-letter agencies in America can do, that remains to be seen. But certainly Trump he threw a bomb in the mix yesterday. But, and I'll come back to this, but of all of the remedies that I've ever heard, the one that I'm working on is the best. And that is our lawsuit in Australia for anti-competitive behavior in the field of cryptocurrencies. It's not even important which field it is, except that our case has got such a large dollar value on it, and the dollar value is so clear and easy to show that there is no defense. That the laws that they broke in Australia are very specific, very detailed, and we know that these companies all took the same action. We know that they put the action that they took in their terms and conditions, which every one of them, Twitter, Facebook, Google, they all put the same terms and conditions to ban the advertising of any cryptocurrency related business. They put that in their general terms and conditions, which everyone signs, everyone. And I mean, whilst I've been going through this, and especially looking at Twitter in the last few weeks, I found tweets actually from Jack Dorsey in January 2018. He was promoting the fact that you can buy Bitcoin with his Cash app, whilst Twitter was banning the advertising of a service similar to that on Twitter. So Jack Dorsey owns or has a very large controlling stake in Square and Cash, and he has a very large and controlling interest in Twitter. Twitter bans other people from buying crypto or advertising crypto services. Meanwhile, he's tweeting that his own other product, you can buy Bitcoin. That isn't even a direct part of our lawsuit in Australia. Our lawsuit rests on breaking laws completely, but that's going straight in the file, because if you can't see that banning everybody from advertising cryptocurrency related products on your Twitter platform, Jack Dorsey, whilst you are shilling Bitcoin on your Cash app, Jack Dorsey, buck stops with you. And that's what you also tweeted that out. You said stop going after Twitter employees because the buck and of all decisions at Twitter stops with Jack Dorsey right at the top. Well, that will be very interesting to the Australian criminal, because we're bringing a civil case. But when we bring our civil case, then the Australian criminal authorities are going to look very hard at the civil case that we've brought, because it's the same criminal law. And they're going to say, was this something that the Australian Twitter legal department did? Did they put these terms and conditions in? Or, as according to Jack Dorsey's tweet of a day ago, is Jack Dorsey responsible for banning all cryptocurrency advertising on Twitter at the same time as promoting cryptocurrency with his Cash app? Yeah, we really have an incredibly solid case, and I'm really looking forward to bringing it. Got big meetings with our lawyers on Tuesday about the legal review process that we're in. We're going to get feedback from another very, very senior lawyer who's not looked at the case before but has been looking at it. Pretty sure that's going to be all positive. But if you want to help us do that, get in touch with me, because it really is looking like we can bring this. And you know, America, the Trade Commission, the FTC, they spent, a decade or more going after Microsoft. What actually happened at the end of that? Can anybody remember? What did they gain? And so, as much as I love Trump, and I think he wants to take the correct actions, and he wants his people to take the correct actions, I don't have a great deal of confidence that the American bureaucracy knows how to rein in Twitter, Facebook and Google at this point. And I don't know if they have the right laws. It would help if Trump wins back the Congress in 2020, but we don't know if that's going to happen. And frankly, we don't even know if Trump's going to win. Who knows what the effect of this economic COVID nonsense is going to be. So all in all, up in the air. But please get in touch with me, jpbliberty.com. It is it's the dark horse. It's the thing very few people have heard of. But when they read it, when they understand how we're going at them legally in Australia, you'll like it. And of course, remember, Facebook, Twitter and Google, they've got it's not their home territory. You know, they're up to their eyeballs in lobbyists in America and control and power, and everybody's terrified of them. Australia is a rebellious nation. Australian government right now does not like Facebook, Twitter and Google. They've been issuing report after report saying how terrible these companies have been and how they've decimated the journalism and various other industries in Australia, because they don't actually have any significant presence in Australia. They just suck money out of the country and send it off to Ireland. So nobody politically is going to go into back for these companies. And we're going to put a case before a judge, and the judge is going to have a very, very, very easy time, because it's such a clear breach of a very established Australian anti-competitive or anti-competitive law. And that's what they've done. They broke the law. They'll go down. We just need to bring the case, have enough cash in the bank for them to know they can't run the clock, and you'll see. Anyway, this is Brian of London. I am in Israel. We are opening up here. I am going to finish my walk, go home and get the coffee that I so desperately need. Oh, yeah, Colleen asks, there were some technical changes to the way that class action cases can be funded in Australia. It turns out it all helps us. What the Australians changed a certain detail to do with the way that you can raise money before you know the size of your claim and before you've signed up all your claimants. We have done the very hard work in advance of signing up. I think it's more than $600 million worth of claimants. We've got what's called a very large book, one of the largest class action books that's ever been formed. And in fact, that's before we've had the major, when we file this thing in court, and we can keep building the book during that process. The moment we file in court, the publicity on this thing is just going to go absolutely bonkers. Right now, it's been limited mostly to the crypto world and my followers. But once we file in a court, and it's real, and it's a court case with a number, you who see this early will think, wow, I heard about this a year ago, and you won't believe the publicity it will get, even in Australia. All right, Brian of London here, signing off. Have a great weekend, everybody. It's Shavuot here. That was last night, Shabbat. And hopefully we're all sort of back to normal on Sunday. Bye-bye for now.